and welcome to the behind the scenes for the Selkie song short musical film. We are currently in post-production for the film, which was first conceptualized almost 3 years ago, so in this series I will be going into how we got from the initial concept to the almost finished film. Nathan, Landis, Funk and I teamed up in summer 2019, knowing we wanted to make a film together based on the Scottish Selkie myth. I took inspiration specifically from the picture book Selkie by Gillian McClure. I also looked at other picture books because the length of them is more suited to a short film than other longer forms of media. While visiting Shetland later in the year, I began to flesh out the ideas that I wanted to incorporate. I wanted to tell the story in a modern setting, and I also wanted the two characters to both be female, unlike in most of the books I'd read. I wrote up a script at New Year's, and in the beginning of 2020, Nathan wrote music to complement it. We bounced the script and music back and forth, and I began to plan a shoot for April 2020. Which of course didn't happen. We tried to reschedule several times throughout 2020 and 2021, and then I began studying MA Music at Edinburgh Napier. I decided to bring the making of this project into my studies in order to learn more about making musical films and to make this film the best that it could be. The first thing that I needed to do when conceptualizing the film was work out why the film is a musical. Could it be told without music, and if so, what does the music bring to the table? I identified 3 main functions of the music. The first is to help set the scene by using Scottish music. I was inspired by musicals such as Come From Away, The Lion King, and In the Heights, which all used local music together with the story to bring the audience into their cultures. By looking at these, I decided to focus on the instrumentation when arranging the music and aimed to create a Scottish folk style by using instruments such as fiddle and guitar. The second function of the music is to aid the suspension of disbelief. In a stage show, it's easy to believe something if you don't see it, because you don't think it's real in the first place. But in a film it's more difficult because the standard for realism is so high. Having the character sing as she's explaining that she's a mythical creature tells the audience that what we're watching is a heightened reality, and they're more likely to believe what she's telling us, unlikely as it is. The final function is that the way that the characters sing is representative of their emotional journey. For this, I looked at Crowd of Thousands from Anastasia as a reference. First, Dimitri sings solo to Anya, who he then helps to sing the next verse. Gaining confidence, she starts singing on her own, and then after the two have a realization, they finish the song together. The film begins with the Selkie singing alone off-screen, and then on-screen. At the end of the film, the main character Cami joins in with the singing, and they sing in harmony, and the film ends with Cami singing on her own. Cami's reluctance to join the song in the beginning shows her disdain towards the Selkie at the start, before she's warmed up to her. The accepting of the song then represents everything that she's learned throughout her journey, and the spark of life that her experience with the Selkie has left her with. After I'd arranged the instrumentation, Jamie McLardy, a classmate of mine, recorded the music for me. We spent a day in the studio, starting with piano, then guitar, then violin, flute, and finally the vocals. It was the first time that Christina, Eliza, and I had been in a room together, and it was great to see that the vibe was already amazing. Jamie then mixed us a track that we could use to sync to the video while we were filming. Often music is written and recorded after a film was shot and edited, however we recorded beforehand so that we could make sure that the vocals looked seamless. For some musicals such as Les Miserables and Cats, they record singing on set, which gives the actors more freedom with their performance and gives them the chance to try new things each take. However, this is harder to do on a smaller budget. On a technical level, the studio microphones are higher quality than the microphones we rented. From a logistics perspective, the higher budget productions often have a pianist playing on set or in the actors' ears to keep them in time, and this was not possible on the beach. So we went with pre-scoring, which eases pressure on the actors while shooting because their vocal performance has already been captured in a controlled environment. After the script and music had been sorted out, I had to make sure that we had everything that we needed practically to shoot the film. This meant testing out the Selkie skin in the bathtub to see how it responded to being wet, and thus documenting my descent into insanity. I also went on a hunt for locations. I visited Airbnbs for the indoor scenes and travelled along the Tayside coast looking for the best beach spots for the rest. My goal was to find somewhere that would be nice to visit on holiday but not nice to live in, and I took concept photos to show the atmosphere that I was trying to create. With permission granted for the locations, equipment rented, music recorded, 4 actors ready to go, costumes and props bought along with wellies and umbrellas, we were finally ready to begin shooting. Subscribe to see the next part of this series, where I will show you what happened the first day on set.